I want to officially apologize for playing Christmas music in November. I am so sorry. We
Spice it up a little bit.
We have an approved music file here, and for some reason there is Christmas music on here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff, and we did not. That is not approved by me. That is just it was there. It's on shuffle. It played randomly. We are sorry. I hate Christmas music before Thanksgiving, so I'm sorry for everybody at home who had to listen to that. Hopefully you didn't turn the channel and you hear
you may have. I mean, some people may be really excited about that.
Either I excited them or I turned off the other 3 viewers we have.
I'm not either. You were gone for a few minutes before we came on the air, and we heard that, and Ryan and I just kind of looked at each other like, are we hearing that right? So it is after Halloween, so it's a little bit more acceptable than it would have been a week ago.
Is it, though? I don't feel like
it's a little bit more, not much more.
No, I'm saying no.
I don't think you should play Christmas music until December 1st. Like, absolute earliest, December 1st.
Black Friday is the earliest for me. It's
December 1st.
It's the by far the earliest, but people playing it now like me, I'm so sorry. But right now, we're at the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson, joined, as you've heard from Trevor and Ryan, also Sean Nienow.
Hey, Sean's here. Hey, Sean.
Hi, Sean. I'm back. Would you look at that? So is Trevor.
Yeah. We did kind of tune into the show last week. We listened to it on our drive up north. So
do you hear us making fun of you?
I caught a little bit of that.
That's what we live for here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff. But, of course, last weekend, the Northwest football team fell to Pittsburgh State, breaking the 38-game winning streak for the Bearcats. Tough loss down in Pittsburgh, Kansas, but they're coming back this week. Number 6 team in the nation comes to town. Fort Hays State. Northwest dropped to number 8 in the rankings. The polls, and right now number 5 in the regional rankings. Fort Hays is number 1, so a big matchup here for the Bearcats. I'm just going to open this question up to any of you guys out here. What do you think is going to happen this Saturday? It's a must-win game for the Bearcats. If they want to share the conference title, they have to win this week, and if they want a home game in the playoffs, they have to win as well.
For me, here's the deal. You look at this team has allowed 10 points at home all season, and all 10 of them came to the University of Central Oklahoma. And that's almost the exact opposite offense, of what we are seeing right now from Fort Hays State. This is a run-first, power the football sort of offense. And generally, the Northwest defense is built for that.
Yeah.
Of course, I said that last week, and Pitt State was able to find some success throwing the football. I think this past week against Pitt State was an everything that can go wrong will sort of day. You turn the ball over 6 times. You give you give their offense a short field on almost every drive. They're gonna score 20 points on you, and if you can't answer that, then that's what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So I think Fort Hays is gonna have difficulty scoring in this game, but Hayes' defense is really good. So Northwest is also going to have difficulty scoring in this game. I'm seeing a low-scoring game, but I think in a low-scoring game, Northwest has the advantage.
Yeah, it might maybe here because I know Fort Hays has been able to score a lot of points this year against most teams they play with their quarterback, junior Jacob Mazzara. He's been really good for them. He's been really good for them this year, and also their running game with Iham there with their running back. He's been really good this year, leads the MIAA in rushing yards. There's a physical team. That's their bread and butter, kind of like Washburn, but more talented almost here.
Yeah.
That's what Fort Hays, they're going to come here, they're going to try to punch you right in the mouth. And that's what they're going to try to do.
Yeah, I think tomorrow 1963 is going to call and want their football game back. I mean, it's probably going to be...
I thought you were predicting the final score. I was like, wow, that's incredible.
No, it's probably going to be one of those low-scoring games where, you got the number one defense in MIAA against the number 2 defense in MIAA. And a Fort Hays offense that, like you guys said, just kind of like to grind it out. They're not super flashy, and a Northwest offense that's been reeling lately. I think first one to 17 might win.
I don't even know if either team gets to 17.
And that's what I'm saying. I think 17 it might be okay. We're done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know the Massey predictions right now. They say 10-7 Northwest. I looked at it, and I looked at the other matchups. If it was in Fort Hays, it'd be 10-7 Fort Hays. And if it's a neutral site, it'd be 7-6 Bearcats.
Yeah,
these two teams are as even as possible.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean, because if you look at the national rankings for each team, Northwest, first in points allowed, first in total defense, first in rush defense, tied 7th in pass defense. This defense is really, really good still. I mean, as Ryan said, 6 turnovers last week by the offense. The defense only allowed 20 points.
They only allowed 100 yards to LePage, Pitt State's quarterback, given that was on 8 completions. But
one blown coverage really was most of that.
Yeah, and one really good catch.
The thing that hurt was
and a very good throw.
When you got those turnovers last week, you were giving Pitt State shorter fields. So
they only had like 230 yards of offense. So they blew them out of the water.
So instead of having to go 30, 40, 50 yards to get points on the board, you're going 10, 15, 20, 25 yards. It's a little bit easier to dink and dunk on this Northwest offense than it is to go for the big plays.
Half of those passing yards came on those 2 passes. The blown coverage and just a fantastic pass from LePage.
And then they have a fake punt too. Was that?
Yes,
they did a fake punt. So
they succeeded
on
a fake punt. They
pull out
got
all
down
the stops they could
line.
win that game. So nice job. Also, this Fort Hays defense, I said they're also really good. 11th in scoring defense, line just under 15 points per game. They're 18th in total defense, about 289 yards per game allowed. 79th in pass defense, but 12th in rush defense. That's impressive. What type of defense they run with that 4-2-5 with, I don't know, the way they run it, they have 40 linemen, 2 linebackers. One's actually a defensive back turned linebacker, and then 2 bandits, a free safety, and 2 corners. So they run a little bit different defense here.
Yeah.
But with Coach Brown, he went to Pitt State whenever he was actually in school. He was an All-American safety down there, one of the college players of the year his senior year. He played for 2 national championships for Pitt State. And he was at Washburn for about 10 years. He was defensive coordinator there. They were really good on defense for a long time when he was there. Now at Fort Hays, he's instilled that same culture of flying around the ball, playing really good in the secondary, and them coming up and almost running between a 4-5 and a 4-5-2 or whatever. It would be 4-4-2. 4-4-3. I can't even say what I'm saying. 4-4-3.
Yeah, and that's where this 4-2-5 with those 2 bandit D backs gives you the look of a 4-4 defense.
Yep.
And that's where it differs from the defense we saw from Lindenwood.
Yep.
In that it can still defend the run because you can still pack the box with 8 in that defense. And in the 4-2-5 defense that Lindenwood ran, they have 5 natural defensive backs. And in that case, it's difficult to pack the box.
They're really physical up front. It's going to be a challenge for this Northwest offensive line to match up with them and establish a running game. I know it's been tough for them as of late, but I think with Emmanuel Jones got a little bit of his first action last week. Hopefully he's even more ready this week. And I want to see more Jones-Thompson in this game versus Hayes.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think the benefit is going to be Jones up the middle, Thompson to the outside. I think that's going to be your 1-2 punch. Even if you could drop back into the gun and have them split backs.
Yep.
And that'll create some confusion for the defense. That way they're not, because if you just go out with Jones and just run him up the middle and just go out with Thompson and just run him to the outside, then the defense is going to catch that. Yeah. But then you can go out with those split backs and you can provide an option. You can do you can even run a triple option out of split backs. You can fake to Jones or run the read to Jones and then option the other way with Thompson. I mean, there's all kinds of.
You have almost the triple option with the run pass option. The last option there, you have the run middle, run outside, then you have Martin with a quick pass to say Bain or Williams or something like that.
Right.
He's not an athletic quarterback, but you still have that RPO option.
Exactly, and that's where I think you have an advantage, especially in the run game with that 1-2 punch of Thompson and Jones, whereas Hayes' offense is more of a feature back kind of offense.
Yeah, and you also look for this Bearcat team. Just catch the ball on the outside has been part of the problem here with the receivers. Really struggle with the connection with Martin. I'm not sure if it's Martin's not throwing a very catchable ball or they're just flat out just not concentrating the ball all the way in. I'm not sure what it is right now, but they need to figure that out because it's getting to playoff time. This is a playoff-type game right now because Northwest right now, if you win, most likely you're getting a playoff game at home, at least one in the playoffs, maybe 2 depending on what other things happen in the region. If you lose, first of all, you're in the bubble for the playoffs in the first place. You have to have a must-win game versus Missouri Western next week. And number 2, you won't have a home playoff game. That's big. You want to play here in Maryville because this home field advantage in the playoffs is like none other. So,
and here's what, as far as the drop passes goes, here's what I see. What I've been seeing in the drop passes is that each dropped pass has been on a route where there's a whole lot of green in front of them. And I think at this point, the receivers are starting to pay a little bit too much attention to the open field that they have in front of them and trying to run with it than they, rather than paying attention to trying to haul the ball in and possess it first before they go running with it. They're just turning their heads and trying to run before they catch the football. And
doing too much.
That's going to lead to drops just about every time.
Yeah, they're doing a little bit too much there with the receiver. Just make your catch, get the 15 yards, and then we'll go from there. I mean, that's what you kind of have to look at right now. Just convert first downs. And I know it's difficult right now with the kicking situation the way it is. Coach Wright actually addressed that this week in the press conference. I'm going to play a tape from Isaiah Swan. Usually comes on with us at ISWANNY 10. Isaiah Swan. Here, our Northwest Missourian reporter, he had this soundbite from Rich Wright this week at the press conference.
That's been an issue all year. We have a freshman kicker as a talented kicker, but we've created a competition within practice on several occasions to try and see if do you take the red shirt away, don't you take the red shirt away, and every time he hasn't won the competition, so you go back with the guy that wins it in practice. We're going to evaluate again this week. I actually talked to Parker yesterday at the complex, and I just said, when you get to week 10 and it's a freshman and you're dealing with...
And that was Coach Rich right there with the kicking situation. He's going to have an open competition this week. I haven't heard how that went, but right now on the game notes, it still has Gardner as the starter there.
I imagine we won't find out until tomorrow afternoon.
Yep, so Gardner is 9 for 20 in kicks this year. He's been very inconsistent for the Bearcats. We've all kind of seen that through the year.
Did Parker Sampson have a jersey number before?
Yes, he did. He had it for week 2.
Because I've seen that he has one now. So
he's had one for a long time now. So this has been a back and forth situation.
Okay.
And I just want to point out that in the case of Brett Garner, this is a talented kid.
It's
he played well at Sioux Falls. He wasn't fantastic. He wasn't perfect at Sioux Falls, but he played well. And that's where, as you mentioned, it's a confidence issue. It's all in his head. I would compare it to a golfer having the yips on the putting green. Mm-hmm. And he gets in front of the goalposts, and you can almost see in his body language that he just loses it. He doesn't have the confidence. He just doesn't feel like he's going to be able to make that kick. And generally, that's the entire reason that you shank a kick left or right, because you just don't feel like you can make it. And if you don't feel like you can make it, you're probably not going to.
And you can't have your offense converting 42% of your third downs and your kicker converting 45% of his kicks.
Right. And
you just can't have that situation right there. Usually it's like, our third down percentage is as good as our kicker right now. You're great, but not if kicker's hitting 45% of his kicks. So, I mean, right now, and it's not like he's missing.
No.
He's missed 2 of 6 from 40 to 49 yards, but he's 2 of 5 from 30 to 40, and he's 5 of 9 from 20 to 30. So it's all over the field where he's missing. So it's not like he's just missing long kicks.
Yeah.
He's missing gimmies as well. So,
and I think, and he's a junior, correct?
Yes.
So I think this may be a situation where, and like I say, Gardner is not a bad kicker, but he just,
and he's 28 for 28 in extra points.
He's lost his confidence, and I think this is just a situation where you've got to give him just time to figure it out. And I think that's where burning that red shirt might have helped earlier. Giving Garner, okay, we're going to put this kid in at kicker. We're going to sit you down and let you try to figure yourself out. Mm-hmm. Try to figure your kicking game out without having the pressure of having to do it in a game. And then we'll revisit it, have another kicking competition either later in the year or at the start of next year to where you can try to win your spot back. But I think that would have been a better situation
early on. Yeah.
But it's almost too late to burn the red shirt now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Devin, we have a comment on the stream by the one and only Tim Hanna.
What's up,
he
Tim?
says, "Put me in, let me kick 40-yard chip shots." Let's go put producer Tim on the field.
Eligibility
I
left?
don't think he has that. That's not the point. Okay, we're trying to bend the rules here. The NCAA,
Or just directly break them.
Yeah,
whatever.
We'll vacate the win later. Let's just get it now.
I don't think you'd vacate just the one win, but that's beside the point.
So we'll see a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about a couple of the other sports in Bearcat football. Be a short segment here. But you're listening to the Weekend Sports Kickoff on X106 and also KNWT Facebook Live. As Sean said earlier, Tim Hanna gave us a comment. You can also give your comment. We'll read your comment on air if it's worthy of
And appropriate
of mention here on the show.
Have we had a problem of those this year?
No.
No, we just want
You just have
to
to say
preface
that.
that. We had to preface that.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next with more Bearcat sports here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff. All right, we are back on the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson. I'm Devin Albertson.
That's why I'm in sports, not music.
Joined by Trevor Maeder, as you heard
Leave
singing.
the singing to me.
Ryan Elliott and Sean Nienow. Ryan, you do a great job on
Ryan's
sessions.
probably the
Thank
only
you.
one of us here that I don't know about you guys, but I know
I
have.
am not musically inclined.
Yeah, you didn't. Sean
Sean's a little
tries.
musically inclined.
You've never ridden a car with Sean for 10 hours.
Hey, Sean is a great impromptu singer.
He is a solid lyricist, and can play a little low brass.
Sean's really good at just like seeing something and making it. He'll be like, "House, that's a nice house." Like,
Trevor, you just run down house with house. Okay, on to something else. So,
Okay, Sean, we had our kicker conversation, and Tim Hanna commented. So, what do we got information here on what's Tim Hanna's eligibility here?
Tim Hanna says he has 2 years left of his eligibility. Now,
No red shirt to be pulled.
I don't know how that's possible because I don't know how it works.
Well-
but I'm going to trust Tim on this.
Yeah. I think if he enrolls as a graduate student,
Ooh.
then he can play as a kicker. He's going to have to try out and make the team, which I think might be an issue. We'll see.
I mean,
not that I'm
Pretty sure
doubting
he's a
your
good soccer
your
player,
ability, Tim, but
but yes, I'm doubting your ability.
I haven't seen it yet. All right, send me a video, something.
Yeah.
And if you knock through, I'll tell you what, if you knock through back-to-back 40-yard field goals, you're in.
Hey, it's Monty Moses can make the team this late. So can Tim Hanna. Same athlete type. I'm kidding, totally. By the way,
Moses like 6'7". Tim Hanna's like maybe 6 foot.
You know, in a minute he's gonna comment back on the stream and say I'm 6'2" or something like that because everyone's always taller than
Cairo
they
Santos
actually.
is 5'7". Okay, I don't want to hear about height for kickers. Okay, it didn't matter.
It matters.
Okay.
Anyways,
Speaking,
Bearcat sports.
That's a good segue into the basketball bash. I just want to point out that they listed Justin Pitts at 5'10" at the basketball bash.
Pretty sure he's got
That's
12
12
inches.
inches.
Well, what was Jose Altuve listed as 5'7"?
5'7",
And
he's
maybe
5'6".
Yeah,
5'5",
maybe 5'5" and
maybe.
a half.
Well, you know, he grew a
Yeah.
little bit over the
It's
summer.
a cleat.
Jose Altuve
I
did?
do not
The
want
dude's 27 years old.
Pitts grew.
I was like, I don't think Pitts is going to wear cleats on the basketball court.
I was talking-
not the new basketball
I
court.
was-
They don't want anything.
I
messing
was
with that.
talking Altuve.
He was talking about Altuve. I was talking about Pitts grew. I mean, all the awards, you just stand on those awards at the end of the year, at the end of the paper, and it just makes him grow an extra inch or two every time he does it.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pitts there.
Sorry, Justin, if you're watching.
He knows. He has to know.
He
this.
knows.
He has to know something. I don't think he really cares at this point. But
when you're the best player in Division II
Yeah, it
basketball,
doesn't
matter how tall you
No,
are.
absolutely not.
and of course, Northwestern, they lost the number 1 team in Division I basketball last Friday, 90-63, I believe what the score was to Duke.
Was it 93?
93-60. I was
Okay,
close.
I was-
93-60.
I have to fact check over here.
You do have to fact check me. No fake news. We don't want that here. So a nice showing there.
Yeah.
Duke's just so athletic
And
and just so
Oh
big.
yeah, that was never a contest. I don't think, just because they're we're matching our 6'7" big guys against their 6'11" and 6'10"
Number 1 recruit in the nation.
up front, and so that's just not. It's not gonna happen.
There were some bright spots in that game, though. I know it was a 33-point loss, so it's difficult to say that. But there were some guys that played well that maybe you probably weren't on the forefront of guys we thought would play well in this game. I know Joey Withus, the transfer from Minnesota, he played pretty well.
I want to point out we've been pronouncing his
Is it
name wrong the
Wittis?
entire time. It's Wittis.
Withus?
Yeah, Joey Wittis.
Joey Withus. Okay.
Yeah, good to know.
Is he from Mankato?
Yes.
He
Mankato?
came from Minnesota State.
Okay.
Mankato.
And then a guy that I actually covered in high school who played really well, Ryan Hawkins.
Pride of
I believe-
Atlantic, Iowa.
Yeah, I believe
How
14
I know he
points.
was in the dunk contest. Who won the dunk contest last night?
Ryan won
Ryan,
the
you
dunk
won it?
contest.
Okay.
What I had heard, yeah, a tall
A few
kid.
between the leg dunks and stuff like that.
He did one. Yeah, he put down one between the legs. He put down a pretty sweet reverse dunk. He threw it up, bounced it off the floor under the bucket, and it bounced to the other side, and he went around in reverse. It was nice.
He's athletic.
He's a
Yeah.
very athletic kid. I believe he's 6'6". He's listed
6'7".
6'7", I believe.
6'8", yeah.
He was 6'5" in high school and just an all-around good athlete. I know Coach McCollum has said before that he feels like Ryan has the potential to be a better college player than he did a high school player, and that's really saying something. The kid, I believe he redshirted last year,
Yeah,
so
he did.
he's a redshirt freshman this year.
Yep.
So
He averaged
of potential.
22 and 13 in high school.
Yeah,
so.
a lot of potential. And as you mentioned, a very, very athletic kid. Another kid that I'm excited about after watching the basketball bash last night is Trevor Hudgens. Hudgens is 6 foot.
180. 6
Yeah,
foot 180.
yeah, and he's got some really, really good ups.
He can
The
jump.
kid can jump. He finished second in the dunk contest last night and beat 6'7" Brett Doherty.
Come on, Brett. Did Endow was he in the dunk contest?
No, Endow didn't participate. It was just the three of them: Hudgens,
so
Doherty,
disappointed in
and
Endow.
Doherty, and Hawkins. But it was pretty entertaining. Hudgens he missed a couple of really good opportunities. He was going for a 360 alley-oop 360 at one point. It would have been impressive if he put it down.
We should have seen.
And he was
last night.
close.
It's just graduate assistant Zach Snyder go up there and just lay one down and just dunk it once for the fans and just walk away.
What if I
Drop the
wanted
mic.
to see him participate in the dunk contest and then run up on the bucket and just lay it up and in?
the one thing, speaking of Zach
That would have been
Snyder,
perfect. I would have given him a 10.
speaking of Zach, the one thing that I'll be interested to see this year is, how Ryan Welty, we kind of saw him flourish in that role last year of kind of learning under Zach Schneider
Yeah.
and being that guy when Schneider wasn't
Yeah.
in. Now with Schneider gone, I want to see if Welty can fully come into that role. He had some games last year where, he couldn't miss, and there were some games where
When he 9 for 9 versus Northeastern.
9 for 9, I believe,
Yeah.
and 9. And there was another game he was like 7
He had-
for
he-
10 or.
At one point had hit 15 straight three-pointers.
he was only 70% last year from 3-point line.
Yeah, only.
Yeah, I think it was.
I
think the
can
actual
I can
percentage
find
was
the
like
actual
65.
stat here in a second.
But
Is that it?
here's the deal. Ryan Welty's not going to go 65% from the three-point line this year.
No, we don't want him
just
to.
not going to
Well,
happen.
he's going to be taking probably more shots
Exactly.
too.
And that's why it was he's going to take if everything goes well twice as many shots as he did last year from behind the three-point line. And
Which is going to bring your average down.
Yeah,
so.
it's his average is just plain it's going to go down. That's just what's going to happen. And so
Welty last year was 66.7%.
there you go.
It's impressive.
Exactly
So,
2/3
Yeah.
of his shots.
Schneider was 46. If Welty can go 45% from three-point line,
Oh, absolutely.
I'll
I think
take
it's gonna
it.
be perfect.
Even 42 or 43, I'll take it. That's one guy that really, really has my eye this
Yeah.
year as far as what he can do. I expect big things from him this year.
And you combine that with Joey Wittis, who hit 4 3-pointers in the Duke game and has the potential to shoot 40% from behind three. And Nienow, who's improved his three-point shot as well.
And if you look, they didn't shoot great versus Duke. I mean, they shot 36% from the three-point line, which isn't it's okay, but it's not great. But part of that is with the length they're dealing with right there. And they had some open looks. They had some great open looks versus Duke. I mean, they were running their offensive sets and getting good looks versus a Division I premier program. So it's not like the offense will be fine. Pitts is going to go off better. They won't have athletic bigs like that who can slow him down. So it should be fun to see what they have. Upper Iowa next week down in St. Joe at 1 o'clock. That's their first regular season game of the year when they take on Upper Iowa, the Peacocks, last year a playoff team.
Friday night.
They
met in the playoffs last year, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
They met in the playoffs, and they met at the beginning
Well, you
of the
just said they
season.
were a playoff team last year.
They
You
met-
didn't
they-
They
specify
were the
that.
8th seed last year.
Yeah, and they absolutely gave the Bearcats all they could handle
Yes, they
last
did.
year. Took them to overtime. What was it, 66-64, something like that, the final score of that game?
So.
Northwest ended up coming away with the win. It's just going to be a matter of what they get from Upper Iowa, because this is the same team that they also played at the beginning of the year last year.
87-52.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Pitts went off. I
beat
think
them
it was
by
like
35.
Yeah, Pitts was 11 for 16 in that game last
Yeah,
November.
so it's just going to be a matter of which defensive team they see from Upper Iowa.
Yeah, because it was 74-79 last year. Bearcats won 79-74.
I got you.
So it was a close game with them. It was the Southwest Minnesota State game that was in the 50s for the regional championship game that was close. But so this Northwest team should be really good again this year. Number 1 in the NABC poll, number 1 in the MIAA, just pretty much number 1 in about every poll we could find for the Bearcats. So they should be good. And the women's team, I know I'm in this with. I think they'll be closer to 500 this year. I know last year they struggled a bit. They were pretty young last year, but they're going to have senior leadership this year with Meyer and Benson. Also, Williams will be in the mix there too. So I think they'll be really good this year.
You look at the roster, and it's a lot of returning players. You've got Meyer, who's kind of their hybrid power forward in a way. She can work on the inside. She has a beautiful 3-point shot. You look at Mallory McAndrews, who is a sharpshooter.
Yes,
from
Sniper.
the outside, and then of course Aubrey Benson, who last year was a very drive and kick or just get to the bucket and try to lay it in. She's improved her shot a lot this year.
I mean, she averaged 11 games.
She showed that during the basketball bash when she nailed a half-court shot on the first try during the shooting competition. So she has improved her shot a lot. I also watched her shoot around a little bit, and it was more consistent. It was hitting. She was hitting from deep a little bit better, and so she's going to be much improved this year as well. And I think that's just going to be another portion of that. And she's a junior this year, isn't she?
Yep, she's a junior along with Williams. I mean, the new girl from Patterson, California, she's also a senior. So her and Meyer are the two seniors. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the name at this point.
So this is
two seniors, a bunch of juniors, and a bunch of freshmen.
This is building a future for this
sophomores.
basketball program. They have a chance to be very good next year as well. And I think this basketball team, this women's basketball team, is going to continue to improve.
Of course, we'll have basketball coming up here soon. We'll see what happens with volleyball next week and calling games if we have people available to call them. And then, of course, with football, what's happening with that with next weekend as well. We'll have more information for that for you later. But, of course, tomorrow, 1:30 kickoff for Northwest versus Fort Hays. We'll have our pregame show and tailgate on KNWT and KNWT Facebook Live and X106 with Sean Nienow to my left. We'll also have Max Moore on the show later. He'll be on the show. And Evan Brown, our sideline reporter, will also be doing that pregame show. And then over to me and Ryan at 1:15 for our little pregame. Kickoff at 1:30 on X106. So a lot of good things happening tomorrow here for the student media here in Northwest.
It's a good title for the pregame show. Our little pregame.
Our little pregame. Our little pregame with the two big guys. I mean,
yeah.
So that's what we have for you. We're going to take a break here on the weekend Sports Kickoff. But when we come back, we have some good topics here, including what's happening in the college football power playoff rankings here on X106.